Hey, awesome friends. I am Awesome Danny. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about this guy right here. This is the Binary Acoustics DynaQuattro. And now that I think about it, the name makes sense. I'll get into that in a moment. So, quick disclaimer. This is a tour unit that is on tour here in the US from HiFiGo. So thank you HiFiGo for making the video possible and letting me be a part of this tour. DynaQuattro comes in at $259.99. That's 1 cent less than $260. Yeah, I went to school. This IEM actually has 4 dynamic drivers, hence the name DynaQuattro, which Dyna is probably short for, dynamic drivers, and then Quattro is the Audi, the rally car, and that thing had 4 tires. Makes sense, right? DynaQuattro. The 4 dynamic drivers in here, I have this written down. There's 3 of them that are, I guess, active dynamic drivers, and one of them is a passive, which I'm not sure how that works. I am not a scientist. I'm sorry if you've been misled, but there's a 10mm dynamic driver, an 8mm dynamic driver, a 6.8mm dynamic driver. That one, I guess they couldn't decide whether to do 6mm or 7. And then there's a 6mm passive diaphragm something. I guess he's just kind of hanging out there. He's like, I'm just gonna chill here, guys. You guys do your thing. And then the 10mm is like boom boom, and then the 8mm is like bomb bomb, and then the 6.8 is like dun dun, and then the 6mm pass is just like nice. So getting into the unboxing, it's okay for the price. There's good presentation. Like, you open the box, the IEMs are just laying there waiting for you to take them, and the cable's like wrapped up, connected to them, tucked in under them, and then there's a little box with the ear tips. And then under that foam, there's the case, the carrying case with some more accessories. For almost being 300 bucks, I wanted more, but whatever. It's nice. The box is nice and compact. It didn't feel like they wasted too much space. So, good. Save on materials, save the planet, save the whales. As for the accessories, they are pretty good, and there's a good amount of them. I hated one of them, but let's get into that. Overall good. There is a Pelican case style case, I guess, which is really nice. It feels super sturdy, thick, very rigid, and it has a little clasp to securely close it and protect your IEMs from all sorts of natural disasters. Cable is okay. It is a modular cable, so it comes with a 3.5 and 4.4 plug for you to swap it to, but the wire and the material is very stiff and prone to memory. I actually kind of hated this cable. The hardware is really good. It's built very well, and it looks very nice. It's quite a nice cable, just not nice to use, I guess. So I personally would replace this cable if I were to use it, while out and about. But lucky for me, I rarely leave this desk, so desk use was fine. Hashtag sedentary lifestyle. And then you also get 2 sets of ear tips, silicone ear tips. They worked fine. They were good. One thing though, these ear tips kill treble on this set, and not just this set, like other sets too. Like, they're just treble killers. Like, they see treble and they kill it. It's like on sight. With the stock ear tips, it sounded good. I preferred something else, so I ended up using, I think, Clarion, the Clarion ear tips. Those were my favorite with this set, but I'm gonna go over the sound impressions with the stock ear tips. That way, if you don't have any other ear tips, you know what you're getting here. Just keep that in mind in case you like the set, but want to try something different, maybe get some new ear tips. So unboxing, accessories, presentation, build, everything so far for the price, pretty good. As far as the build goes for the IEM itself, it is very similar in material, I guess, feel, shape, and size to the Moondrop Variations, which is kind of weird. The faceplate is a little bit lower density, like it feels lighter. The shell itself though, just like that smoky resin, it's very similar to the Variations, but it is built well. It's not too heavy, about average. Size, it feels a little bit bigger, but I had no issues with fit. I did have to downgrade size on the ear tips that I usually use. I'm mostly a medium type of guy, you know, about average. It's not too big, not too little, you know, it's just right in between there, like most of us, right? But I had to bring it down a size just so that it can fit. Went down to small, it was okay. All right, so everybody's favorite segment, we're gonna sniff some graph. I don't know, maybe we're gonna even snort it. Depends how good the graph is, you know? But let's go ahead and bring that graph up, and I'm gonna go over my sound signature keywords that I have written down right here so that I remember them. So let me go ahead and read those to you while you guys check out that graph. Sound signature keywords are tactile, dim, substantial, polite, sophisticated, and cohesive. I also wrote down fiesta with an exclamation point. Not sure what I was thinking when I wrote that down, but I guess so. I guess we'll add that in there, fiesta. For you guys that don't speak Spanish, it is a car by Ford. All right, now let's go ahead and get into the sound impressions. Like I mentioned before, this was with the stock ear tips. Bass is rumbly, full, and fun, just like me. There is really good note weight here, like pretty good, substantial note weight. The mid bass, even though it's a good amount of it, the impact's quite polite. Not like super polite, but more so than I expected. It's not intrusive at all. Man, the sub bass on this thing vibrates. It just extends really well, and it's just a good hum. And as for the mids, they're slightly clouded by the bass, even the mid bass. Even though mid bass is kind of soft, not too intrusive, it does fluff its way over. There is still enough clarity in the mids. Overall, still a little bit clouded, which makes them feel a little bit restrained, you know, like they're pushing through, just not cutting completely through. I thought of an example of something that feels this way, but I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say it on YouTube. So I'll put it in Discord. So female vocals are pretty lush, more lush than I would prefer. They have a little bit of clarity still pushing through, a little bit of that intensity, just enough to cut through, but still pretty lush. Very small airiness, minimal airiness. While male vocals are pretty much the same, lush, but with even less energy. So they're pretty, you know, velvety, smooth, but not a lot of clarity. The lower mid-range can actually blur quite a bit. It could smudge across a little bit. So especially with like a lot of mid-range or lower mid-range focused tracks or anything that's very busy, it can compete for the same space there and ends up kind of just blurring. As for the treble, it is held back, quite held back in my opinion for my preference. It gives it overall the sound signature a quite dull or darker type of presentation. There is just enough for some definition and clarity, but it's barely there. It keeps the focus on the lower end. It still extends pretty well. Like I don't feel like I'm missing too much. It's just what I'm getting is slightly rounded. So overall, in the tonality, when using like for example Clarion, it really helped clean up the sound signature. So I got a little bit more air, a little bit more openness with a little bit less focus on the bass. Just made it a little bit lighter overall. Just a bit, kind of tilted a little bit the other way, which was my preferred of the two. If you feel like the stock ear tips are just a bit too dark, try something with a little bit more wide bore or go super wide with Clarion. As for the texts, they were good. Imaging is quite strong. It feels like I can follow stuff very well, but it is softer in the definement. So while you can follow stuff, it's more like a general idea instead of it being a very rigid and defined outline. The sound outlines are kind of halfway. It's not like they're super soft and fuzzy, but also they're not, you know, rigid and hard. It's right in between, kind of like a semi-hard, just like me. Overall timbre is quite dark, well at least dark for my preference. It feels like it's a slightly dark, restrained, more rumbly and thick. There's a lot of, you know, viscosity with this. It feels nice in the lower end. And for the comparison, we're going to compare against that guy up here, Chopin. That's also from Binary. They did a collaboration with Gazaudio, which is some guy on YouTube, I guess, but they did a collab with him, and then they made this, which if you look at the graphs, they're actually pretty close. They sound so different though. Just right off the bat, I prefer the Chopin, just stock more. But let me go over how they differ. So Chopin has a bit less of that rumble. The sub bass isn't as rumbly. Overall, the bass is cleaner. There's a little bit more focus on the impact and the thump on the Chopin compared to the Dyna. Dyna overall has more note weight and feels more lush. Chopin is a bit thinner. Chopin also has a much more balanced timbre. It's not super airy and sparkly though, but it's just a little bit more clarity. Overall text, such as like detail separation, all the fun stuff, is better on the Chopin, but Dyna is more musical. It has that lower mid resonance that just feels very nice with a lot of like string instruments or a lot of classical music. The way it resonates with those kind of things, it just feels great. But Chopin does my library better. Modern music, pop, K-pop, you know, the more mainstream stuff. While I'll probably choose the Dyna for more of the niche stuff like rock or metal or classical and jazz, you know, stuff that nobody really listens to. So that brings us to my rec rating of the Binary Acoustics DynaQuattro. So my rec rating is a 2. $260. You get a pretty well built IEM. You get a signature that is pretty easy to enjoy, but there's stuff with better text around this price point or even less, for example. Also, accessories are pretty good except for that cable. I hate that cable. But again, rec rating 2. Go ahead and demo it. If it sounds like something you might be interested, you know, wait for a sale. There's plenty of sales. I think there was even a sale right now when I recorded this video. But that's my review, guys, of the DynaQuattro. Thank you, HiFiGo, for letting me borrow the DynaQuattro for this review. And if you guys like my content, please consider liking, subscribing, commenting, I don't know, DMing me on Discord. Well, until next time, I am Awesome Danny, and you stay awesome, friends. Bye.
Sunny's pulse so soft and white, quiet steps in the moonlight.